You're too polite. You really have what it takes to be a police officer. My name is Xīn Xiǎofēng, and I am a competent and good police officer, but I am also a murderer. My life is built on a huge lie. 7 years ago, I, along with 2 others, accidentally wiped out an entire family. Afterward, we all disappeared into the vast sea of people, and I chose to become an auxiliary police officer because I knew that the most dangerous place is also the safest. I thought everything I had done was flawless until one person showed up, shattering everything I had planned. That day, I was on the phone with Adeo when a team suddenly appeared outside the door, wearing raincoats. They claimed to be the new chief of police. I secretly observed him, but just as I thought he was about to leave, he called out to me, "Hey, system, come here." At that moment, I had no other thoughts. I just felt that his eyes, like those of a hawk, could easily see through my heart. My intuition told me that he must be someone sent by the family to take my life. To avoid that bad feeling, I moved out of my dorm that very night and found a new place to live. However, what happened next only confirmed my suspicions. The next day, we received a report, and I went with the team to a busy district. On the way, we passed a taxi, and just by one glance, he pulled out a gun, ordered everyone out of the car, and restrained them. His sharp instincts surpassed every officer I had ever known, even surpassing my own as a criminal. Perhaps in the eyes of many, I am a young and promising auxiliary officer, though I'm not officially part of the force. But I was born to be a policeman. That's why he often encouraged me to take the exam and apply for a permanent position. But every time, I would make excuses, saying that I wasn't cut out for it. How would you know if you don't try? I could tell he genuinely admired me, but unfortunately, I wasn't worthy of that admiration. Afterward, I told Adeo everything, and he agreed with me that I needed to get out of the police force as soon as possible. So, the next day, I went to the chief to submit my resignation letter to end this tense and fearful life. But when I saw how angry the chief was, I hesitated and turned my resignation into a leave request. But when I heard the name Shillong, for some reason, the chief insisted on personally sending me there. During the drive, he talked about the tragic case in Shillong years ago. He said that case was like a knife, deeply carved into his mind and could never be forgotten. As he casually mentioned it, my mind was pulled back to 7 years ago. I clearly remember how we 3 were in disarray, quarreling over a baby girl, and how old Chen accidentally slipped and was pierced by a branch. Distracted, I nearly crashed the car, and when I came back to my senses, I instinctively put out my cigarette. This moment was clearly witnessed by the chief. To test me, he deliberately brought up the details of that case, trying to find a flaw in my expression. I admit, I was nervous, but my years of experience in covering up allowed me to remain calm. The case hung in the air. I had created a divergence with them, and the case went off track. But those of us in this line of work know a word: retribution. Perhaps one day, fate will give you a chance. After getting out of the car, I stood on the boat heading to the other shore. At that moment, my heart was filled with contradictions and despair. I wanted to atone for my sins by doing good deeds, but I could never escape the torment in my heart. I never married but had a daughter named Weiba. Yes, the baby girl left after the massacre. We adopted her, maybe out of some sense of conscience, because only when I indulged Weiba did my heart feel some peace. Sometimes, people are like this. You can do many wrong things, but the one thing you can't do is betray your conscience, because in the end, we all face the judgment of our conscience. To give Weiba a better life, we helped her find a family that agreed to adopt her a month later. But the chief's appearance disrupted our plans, and we had to send her earlier than expected. However, the day before we were supposed to leave, I saw the concerning medical results and hid it from them. When I saw Adeo driving away with the car, I truly regretted it. What the hell do you want to do? I pretended the medical results were fake, but the doctor had said the surgery would not save her. The punch not only hurt my face but shattered our future. Accept it. In the end, we decided to stay with Weiba and treat her condition properly, but now, the most important thing was the surgery fee. However, due to the years of neglecting tomorrow, we had no money saved up. Coincidentally, we met the chief and his sister at the hospital. I didn't know when Adeo had met them, but his phone call explained everything. Little did I know, this would only deepen the chief's suspicion, as he realized so many coincidences were happening around me. The next day, he summoned me to his office and said something profound: I like the law. I believe the law is the best thing invented by humans. Do you know what a person is? In my eyes, a person is a mix of divinity and animal nature. They have unimaginable goodness, but also unimaginable evil. There is no right or wrong. This is humanity. That's why the law is so adorable. It doesn't care how good you can be, it just prevents you from going too far. I knew that we could no longer hide our actions, but I still tried to hold on. I wanted to see Weiba undergo surgery and be adopted by a kind person before everything fell apart. After our conversation, I suddenly realized, hey, your house is on fire. During the conversation, I had accidentally left a fingerprint, so I rushed back to wipe it off. But it was already too late. Fortunately, I had a habit of erasing fingerprints, so even if the chief checked, I thought it would be okay. But our time was running out. I had to figure out how to temporarily escape suspicion. Just then, the appearance of a businessman gave me an idea. I saved his life during a low point in his career, and he began to pursue me. Although I hated this, I soon had a daring idea. What if I were gay? Wouldn't that make the massacre case from years ago irrelevant? So, I deliberately let the man park his car in front of the chief's window and went on dates in front of him. My plan worked. His worldview collapsed, and so did mine. This completely dispelled his suspicions about me. But I never imagined that in the end, I would lose to my landlord. One day, the chief came to my house and accidentally discovered the listening device in my room. He wasn't just anyone, he could spot things like this immediately. That day, the truth that had been hidden for 7 years was finally revealed. The chief was probably conflicted. He admired me and didn't want me to be a criminal, but he also wanted to solve the case and give his mentor closure. After that day, he didn't immediately expose me. We went on another mission together, capturing 2 dangerous criminals. This was my closest opportunity to redemption. The 2 criminals ran up to the rooftop, and the chief almost fell while chasing them. Luckily, I caught them. But at that moment, the chief put his fate in my hands. You 3 should turn yourselves in. If I had let go, the case would have been buried forever, and we could have all started new lives. But in the end, my conscience overcame my crime, and I saved the chief. Lying on the rooftop, I had never felt more at peace. That burden on my heart had finally been lifted. Although over the past 7 years, I had tried to make amends, I ultimately couldn't escape the law's judgment because some mistakes can't be erased by remorse or time. The following day was the last time I saw the chief. I could tell he was disappointed in me, but I had no words to say. The only person I truly owed an apology to was Weiba. I don't think I'll get the chance to see her again. Are we good fathers? Weiba used to always ask us, are you good fathers? We always avoided answering. Now, we can finally say, we are good fathers. Maybe it's more meaningful this way. I know the chief wanted to ask me, why did you save me on the rooftop when you had a chance to live? The truth is, I never planned to live to the end. I couldn't bear to think of Weiba growing up and learning that the 3 people who were the best to her in this world were the ones who killed her whole family. So, only if we die, will the secret remain hidden forever, and she can grow up happily. Now, I finally got my wish. The chief adopted Weiba, and we ended our life of crime, completing our final redemption.